All right, y'all. Alrighty, let me get some water. Hold on. Whew. Ain't nothing like classic H2O. Look, y'all, I've said it before and I will say it again. All my ladies and my guys who like NYX lip gloss, the butter gloss. I said this a while ago, and a girl I watch on YouTube now, she said it. So I was like, thank God people know this dupe like I know it, because I feel like I want to put the world on with this. We know NYX butter gloss is like chef's kiss, right? But it's a pretty penny. Go to your local hair store, get Ruby Kisses butter bomb gloss. When I say, like, I just had some Indian food. I hope I got no food in my mouth. When I say it's so similar to NYX, I promise y'all, I love this lip gloss, and it's like $2. Okay? But y'all didn't come here for lip gloss. Y'all came here because your girl wanted to share with y'all all the books that I have read in 2023. I'm bringing them around here. In 2023, da 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 da. Okay, all the books that I have read in 2023, I want to share the ones that I've read. I want to tell y'all how important versus unimportant they are in my life, okay? So we're going to start with, what was the first one I read? Okay, first one I read this year, The 4 Agreements. Y'all, when I say this book is gold, this book I want to say is the most important book in this stack for me. So important that I have recommended it to, I've made it a part of my work. I've assigned it as homework to my clients. This book is so important. When I say it changed my life, it changed my life. It changed my life when it came to not taking anything personally, not making assumptions, and being impeccable with my word. Those are the main 3 agreements that changed my life. But great book. As y'all see, it's not even a thick read. I strongly recommend this to literally every person, every adult, every teenager, everyone who wants to just live a more peaceful life. The 4 Agreements, y'all. That's my number 1. So I actually read that one first, I think, this year. And then, so we just going in the order of, well, never mind. That's the number 1 important book. This was the second book I read this year. As y'all see, I have not read the whole book, but it's, to me, Sacred Woman is more so of like you come to almost like an encyclopedia, almost. But not really. It's like certain things. Like, let's say if you want a recipe for something, you can flip through and find it. If you want assistance with fire breathing and physical health and things like that, like Sacred Food. Chapter 7 is Sacred Food. You know, things like that is how this book works. So I feel like personally, The Sacred Woman is not a book that you just have to read front to back. I think it's more so of where you are at in your journey, in your spiritual journey. But Sacred Woman is by Queen Afua, who is my fairy godmother in my head. She's my fairy godmother in my head, and this book was super important to me. I know I said the 4 agreements, but I almost want to say they neck and neck, for real. Like, this book is so important. It's actually one of the things that aided me, that influenced me to go plant-based. So many of y'all may know, some of y'all may not know, I went plant-based back in May 1st to be exact, of this year. And so it has been May, June, July, wait, no. It has been 7 months. Yep. 7 months since I've been plant-based. Shout out to Queen Afua and a whole bunch of other people. But most definitely my fairy godmother, Miss Queen Afua. You guys, I definitely, all my women out there, all my black women especially, get your hands on this book. You know, if you wanted to tap back into your roots, get you this book. All right? Sacred Woman. She has some exercises in there that just blew my mind. And I'm not talking about like running exercises. I'm saying like things to do, things she wanted you to do. And it really changed a lot for me. So Sacred Woman, shout out to this book. Love it. Super duper important. And I forgot to say the author of the 4 Agreements. The author of this book is Don Miguel Ruiz. This is him on the back. Alrighty, so these top two important books for me, and I read them towards the beginning of the year. Let's see, the next book I read after that was, I want to say I'm doing this in order, was The Developmental Psychology of the Black Child. So for those that don't know, I am in the mental health field, and so I felt like I needed to read this, especially with me being in the field that I'm in. I'm actually a mental health therapist. I see children and I see adults. And I just feel like this was necessary. It was very important. I will say, though, it was one of those books that made me feel like I was back in college. And so I wouldn't just recommend it to any and everybody just because I feel like, you know, he speaks on a professor level, like a I don't know, he speaks in like a lot of scientific terms, and he's talking about statistics and studies and research and things like that. Real informative, but for me it was one of those books where I had to like take a break, reread, take a break, then move forward, just so I can like process what is actually being taught to me here. But it was very informative. It really made a lot of connections as far as the psychology of Black people. A lot of things I felt, not say I've always, but a lot of things I have felt to be true, but this book brought the research to back up my thoughts. For example, I won't even go into it, but the psychology of the Black child, the psychology of the Black person is just so different compared to other races, just based on, you know, our history of trauma, of how we even got to this country. And I'm talking about America. So, and all of that is important when you're working in the mental health field, because you can't just approach, you know, Black people how you would approach a white person or an Asian person. And I actually would recommend this to people who are not Black as well, who are working with Black people, especially in the mental health field. So one of the questions on the back is, are Black and white children the same? The answer to that is no. I mean, duh, but like mentally, no. Even the way our brains develop, even the way that kids, when they're first born, the developmental stages that they reach is totally different when you compare a Black child and a white child. So it's just a lot of stuff he brings into perspective, and he backs it up with science. But the author is Dr. Amos Wilson. I think he is a psychologist, I want to say. I think, but yeah. It was really important for my field. I will say that. The next book that I read was Good as Gold. I hope it's showing up, but Good as Gold. I don't know where the cover is. I've been looking for this bookmark. I don't know where the cover is, but this book, oh, I had it the wrong way. Okay, Good as Gold. This book, I wouldn't say it was super important. It was more so of like entertainment, but it also had like some truth in it as well. So I'm really big on like reading for knowledge and reading for self-help, but also reading for entertainment as well. I feel like we need to be balanced. You know, I feel like our brain just needs a break sometimes. So this was almost one of those books because it talked about it was fiction, but it was also kind of going with the history of Black thriving towns being washed out by evil white people. So this book talks about that, but it's fiction, and it has like a whole storyline and things like that. It was a pretty good read. I also found out, I think this was like a high school book, I want to say, but I got it and I should have known because I went to Books A Million one day and I was looking for books, and I was like, I talked to the girl who was working there. I feel like she probably was like in high school, and but I was like, yeah, I'm looking for a thriller. That's what I told her. I said, I'm looking for a thriller because I want to get into thrillers, reading thrillers. I was like, I'm looking for a thriller, but I want it to be by a Black author. So she was like, oh, well, you come over here. I actually just put up this section with Black authors, and she pointed me to like this whole section with books by Black authors, and so this was the one I chose. But like the setting is like some seniors in high school or whatever. But you know, it was pretty cool. Pretty cool. It definitely kept my attention also. So the next book I read, this was, got a dang on plane ticket on here. But this was How to Raise a Healthy Child in Spite of Your Doctor. This is written, oh, I didn't say the author to this one. Her name is Candace Buford. And it is good as gold. Alrighty, so How to Raise a Healthy Child in Spite of Your Doctor. I hope this stuff is not showing up flipped. But the author is Robert S. Mendelsohn, and he's a doctor. He's actually, or he was a pediatrician. He has passed since. So this book was super important to me as well. It was, I don't think he really wrote in like a scientific way. It was real easy to follow. But I appreciated this book because, for one, it came from an actual pediatrician, so I felt like it wasn't biased in a sense of like someone who's like completely against medicine and has not worked in the field. Like, he was working in the field when he wrote this book, but he just realized that a lot of the schooling that they receive in the medical field is, you know, it's just Western. It's just based on Western medicine and Western and money, that, you know, to be real. And he was just saying how a lot of issues that we take our kids to the doctors for can be healed at home. You know, like, I like this quote on the back. It says, mothers, grandmothers, and Mother Nature are the best doctors around. And I don't know if y'all know, but I'm all about that. Okay, so he was kind of giving tips on things that you can do. Like, he has certain like, you can look through the index for different ailments and stuff and go to the pages that he talked about, different remedies that you could do to heal your child instead of taking them to the hospital. And he wasn't against the hospital, which I'm not either. I'm not 100% against the hospital, but I also believe that there is a lot of things that we can do before making the hospital like our plan A. So he kind of like gives parents some confidence on healing your child and nursing your child back to wellness before going to the doctor all the time. So definitely recommend this to my mamas. Most definitely, I think this is one of those books to just keep on your bookshelf. That book was super important. And then the next book, this goes in my entertainment section. It was after I read this one, so I was like, let's go to the entertainment section. I picked out Guilty Gucci, and it is by Ashley Antoinette. And this one was super entertaining. I want to say I finished this book, I almost want to say 3 days, but I may be lying. I know it did not take me longer than a week because I felt like I was watching a movie. This book was like straight thriller. It wasn't thriller. It was more so like suspense. And what was it? I think I looked up the genre. I think it was like under urban crime suspense or something like that. super entertaining. Okay, some of the stuff I'm like, reading it, but I feel like if you want to break from just filling your brain with knowledge and things like that, this was a good read. I don't too much care for the sex scenes and stuff. I'm not, honestly, and it's just my preference. I kind of don't, I'm not really into the sex scenes in books because I feel like they're really cringy and corny and all of that stuff. But to each his own. They have a few in here. I kind of like skim through it because I'm just not into it. But they didn't have a lot. So if you're worried about it being like a sex book, it's not that. And when she does go through like sex scenes, it's not super lengthy either. But super interesting. It was like a movie, in my opinion. It made me wonder, are they going to make it into a movie? It was really good. Next book, actually, this is my last book that I've read, is The Alchemist. I read this in 2 days. Okay? But as you see, it's not that thick. It is like 182 pages. 182 pages. Not that thick at all. The Alchemist is by Paulo Coelho. So this was actually my husband's book. Like maybe a month ago, we were riding to South Carolina, and y'all know I have a flip phone now, which means when I get bored, I can't just go on social media like I used to when I had my iPhone, which means I'm big on reading. And so I needed an extra book to read while we were driving down there. So I was looking on the bookshelf and I saw that he had this that he hadn't touched. So I was like, let me grab this. And I read it and I did not put it down like the whole car ride. I could have finished it that day, but on the way back we were listening to a podcast. So I finished it the next day. Super good book. Super duper good book. It's kind of in the same lane as The Four Agreements a little bit. It's more so on a, let me see. How would I describe this book? They call it the personal legend, which means like your purpose, basically, is how I translated it. But on the back, one of the quotes says, to realize one's destiny is a person's only obligation. So that's really like the concept of the book, like realizing what you're here for. Don't be afraid to achieve that, and that's like your biggest things to do here on earth. But it's in a storytelling form. Really interesting. I think this book is talked about a lot, like in the spiritual conscious community. Definitely recommend it, especially if you're someone who may be kind of struggling with, my phone going off, kind of struggling with just life purpose and what am I here for and things like that. I feel like this was a good read. So those are all the books that I've read so far. Next on my list is Modern Man in Search of a Soul as we close out this year. But I'm gonna be honest with y'all. I just started this book, but it's not keeping my attention. It's not. So it's by Carl Jung. No, C.G. Jung. I think his name is Carl Jung. Who was Carl Gustav Jung, who was a psychologist. I want to make sure I get his title right. I believe he was a psychologist. I know he was in the mental health field. And I got this book because I fell into the what is the theory? He's like the creator of the shadow self, and that theory that we all have a shadow self. And so when I started researching that, I was like, I'm interested in reading some of his books or whatever. And this book popped up as like a recommendation. Got it. And so far, not really feeling it. I want to force myself to finish it, but to me, it's more so like I'm in college again. So I think I'm just not in the headspace right now to just be. I think I'm kind of on my, like this girl recommended this book about mermaids. It was like a folklore book. I think that's what it said. About mermaids, and if y'all see smoke, it's my instant. So I kind of think I'd rather grab that book. I said I might pick it up from the library instead of me buying it, because I don't think I'm like super interested in it, but I am kind of interested in it. So I don't know if I'll finish this before the year's out. I might keep y'all updated. But yeah, those are all the books that I have read. 2023. I saw a girl one time, she was like showing all the books that she's read, and I thought it was so cool because she did like these transitions, and she did this with the book. She was like okay, never mind. But yeah, all the books that I've read, my favorite two. Somebody's texting me. And then some more books that I have. One is the Encyclopedia of Herbs, but that's not a book that you just read front to back. Good grief, what is this? Oh. So it's not one of those books that you just read from front to back. I feel like it's an encyclopedia. So I use it for like tinctures and things like that. And then I also have it's like an African version of that book. Goodness. When I get I can't remember the title right now, but I have it downstairs. Dang it. I hate that I'm not remembering right now. But I have it downstairs, and when I think of the title, I'm going to put it on the screen. I also have that one that I kind of refer to for recipes and herbal remedies and things like that. But yeah, y'all, those are all the books that I have read in 2023. I am very proud of myself because, and I think I've said this before, as a child, reading was a big hobby of mine. And I feel like as I grew up, as I became an adult, I didn't read as much, but I still kind of would throw a book in, like maybe once a year, especially in my early 20s. But these last couple of years, I've been increasing my reading, which it just soothes my inner child so much because she loved the library. She loved reading, all of that. Oh my goodness. So I'm so happy and so proud of myself to even be back like on this consistent level that I'm at when it comes to reading. And I give a lot of credit to me choosing and switching to, why am I stuttering, girl? English, please. Why? One of my clients said, I told her I was going to use that because that's hilarious. She says English, please, when she stutters. But I give a lot of credit to Miss Flippy for getting me through 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, probably 7 books because I didn't read the Carl Jung book. 7 books this year. Excuse me. And especially how fast I was reading them. Like I was zooming through majority of these books. So, you know, if reading is one of your hobbies or if reading is something that you want to get into, I would most definitely say limit your screen time. Like I say, I don't feel like everybody needs to get a flip phone. I do think the world would be great if we all had flip phones again, but I'm not the type of person to be like, you need to get a flip phone, you know, because some people are a little bit more disciplined in monitoring their screen time than I was. For example, my husband. He doesn't need a flip phone because he can put his phone down. And he's not on social media. A lot of people are like that. A lot of people are like me. So if you are like me, but if you're like him, just limit your screen time and pick up a book if that's what you are wanting to do for the new year. So that's all I got to say. Y'all know I will talk y'all's heads off. So let me just end it right here. Peace and love. I also wanted to say that a few years ago, I used to make videos where I would read books and review them. And I would call it Chi and the Bookworms, I think. So if you are interested in watching any of those videos, I'm going to leave the link to that playlist in the description box. For your viewing pleasure, thank y'all for watching. Peace.